strength training here will basically be for respiratory muscles, and endurance training here will be an entire aerobic training. We all know that like if the patient has restrictive diseases problem with inspiratory muscles, basically we will lean towards training the inspiratory muscle, IMT, inspiratory muscle training. If the patient has problem in coughing, there is a lot of mucus accumulation, they will obviously require expiratory as well as inspiratory muscle training. Okay, so that is where you have to think a little, think wisely, correlate your symptoms and what is the goal that you require, what is the outcome that you require, and choose wisely. Points that should be considered during exercise training is there should be thorough patient assessment. Never start without patient assessment. Entire case that you take during your exams should always be taken once you step out in the clinical world. When you are treating the patient, should always practice proper assessment. Okay, and optimal medical treatment correlation. What are the drugs that the patient is on? Either they are bronchodilators, they are mucolytics, they are, if the patient has cardiac condition, if they are beta blockers. So accordingly your intensity and everything measurement will change. Consider of oxygen therapy if the patient is on oxygen therapy, if the patient is not on oxygen therapy. During the exercise, if you require the patient to take oxygen therapy, always monitor SpO2, HR and everything during the exercise training. Keep in mind the other comorbidities of the patient, like I talked about it earlier, that is osteoarthritis and or other cancer like ailments, where patient cannot undertake large intensity exercises. Your intensity will change accordingly, your type of exercise will change accordingly. For example, if you want to train a patient with OA for aerobic, like aerobic cardiopulmonary endurance, then what do? You obviously can't push the patient to do walking, you can't stair climbing and stepper, etc. You cannot overload the knee if the patient has OA. So you can as compared to walking, climbing, jumping, stepper training, you can put the patient on cycling, where the loading over the knee will, weight loading on the knee will be less, and the range of motion will be complete and movement will still be happening. Endurance training will still continue, but the loading will be minimal on the knee. Okay, so accordingly you have to choose. So according to the FIT principle, the frequency of endurance training will be 5 days a week. Frequency of resistance training will be 3 days a week. Intensity for endurance training will be 60% to 80% of the maximum work capacity. If you are considering THR, or whether you are considering VO2 max, it will change accordingly, or if you are considering METs. Okay, so time will be, initially you have to start with 30-minute sessions and progress up to 45 to 1 hour according to the patient's response and patient's capacity. For lower limb endurance, you can do cycling, walking, dancing. You have to choose it according to the category of the patient, according to the patient's comorbidities. Upper extremity endurance training can be done by hand ergometer, TheraBands, circuit trainings, etc. Always monitor this is very important. Please note down, like it should be in red letters in your mind always, like always monitor the heart rate, SpO2 of the patient, and immediately discontinue the exercise training if the patient experiences any kind of dizziness, raise or fall in their blood pressure, their heart rate, or sudden exacerbation of the chest pain. We all know that the parameters like BP, heart rate, respiratory rate should be taken right before, in middle, right after the end of exercise, and till the recovery takes place. So accordingly your exercise protocols might change. Okay, prevent falls. If you're going to deal with elderly patient, always prevent fall and make your environment fall proof. Okay, geriatric proofing should be done. Self management by patient education. So why I have included this here? First of all, it is one of the important component, even your goal. We all know what should we be telling patients, what all information should we be giving patient with respiratory diseases. Okay, self management is a major key for any kind of rehabilitation. It always starts from the beginning of the diagnosis to the end of the life care. Okay, till the patient is disease free, till it has to be told to the patient. Always remind them of all the following points. So you should always tell the patient how to prevent and treat the acute exacerbation of their symptoms. We all know patients with COPD, asthmatic patients, they have acute exacerbation of dyspnea, breathlessness, or cough attacks. So you should always be able to tell them that what are they supposed to do during these situations. Okay, we do not want that a normal asthmatic attack should lead to a continuous attack. Okay, so we all know that how dangerous it is, and thus we should be able to teach patient that how they need to take care of themselves. Okay, so one important thing you need to tell patient is keep a fixed place for of their medicine. Matlab, if there is a desk where in a drawer they are keeping the medicines, they should always keep that medicine there. For example, if an asthmatic patient knows that he has acute exacerbations time to time, he should keep his pump handy. He should know that yes, this is the drawer, this is the place where I am keeping my pump, and anyone around the house, whoever is being with him for 24 hours maybe, or whoever is taking care of him, should know where the pump is, should know which drawer, which place on the desk the medicines are kept. Okay, apart from that, the patient should always be maintaining a diary of their progress, their exacerbations, their medicines, whatever they are taking, how many times did they had to take the SOS medicines, what were the diurnal changes, or after what activities there was episode of exacerbation, after what activities the episode reduced. Okay, all that should be maintained in a diary, and diary should be examined time to time by the different team members of the pulmonary rehabilitation. Then proper usage of pumps with and without spacers. You need to tell your patient that what is the need of spacer, why do you have to place spacer, how does their pump work. Okay, so you need to tell them that 2 बार push करने के बाद you have to take in 3 breaths, hold your breath for 10 seconds and then relax. Okay, so you need to tell them because obviously they do not know how to use it. You have to tell them to take care of themselves, like avoid any kind of objects, food, environment that may lead to stress on their respiratory system, which are known as the triggers for their attack or anything. Okay, they should be taught to use personal protective devices, like when we go in cold places. We always wear head gear, cottons in the ears, we wear sweaters so that we are not so that we do not catch cold. So that is what is personal protective devices that you need to tell the patient. Okay, then teach the patient energy conservation techniques and work simplification. You know the patient is breathless, you have measured their endurance using all kind of 6-minute tests and etc. You know they are not going to be able to do a specific amount of work, so you need to teach them how to plan, how to prioritize